to Srila Bhakti Pramoda Puri Goswami Maharaj and offer pranam to him with the utmost devotion. Offer pranam on my behalf as well. I am sending you because he may be hesitant to accept these items if I were to offer them personally. According to Shri Guru Maharaj's order, I went to Srila Puri Goswami Maharaj's room, offered pranam and the items given by Guru Maharaj, and then relayed the message that Guru Maharaj also offers his pranam. Srila Puri Goswami Maharaj laughingly said, "According to the Titi, today is my birthday. All this is for me on my birthday. Even though he is so busy, Madhav Maharaj remembered my birthday." This is the first time I came to know the date of Srila Puri Goswami Maharaj's appearance day. In this way, Guru Maharaj initiated the practice of honoring...
Did it say the date?
No, it didn't say the date. In this way, Guru Maharaj initiated the practice of honoring the appearance day of his dear godbrother. When I returned to Guru Maharaj and informed him that I had given everything to Srila Puri Goswami Maharaj, he said, "One should worship the Vaishnavas on their appearance days by remembering and serving them. We should hear the glorifications, kirtan, of their most sublime qualities and divine character. Because Shri Puri Maharaj is my senior godbrother, I have taken a room directly below his, so that I may always honor him by keeping him on my head, and thus receive the shelter of his lotus feet. In the core of my heart, I felt overwhelmingly pleased that I could become the medium to deliver Guru Maharaj's affectionate and loving gifts to Srila Puri Goswami Maharaj." Oh. That reminds me, probably you too, of a story that Sripad Madhava Priya Prabhu told us, or told you. How Guru is one. So Sripad Madhava Priya Prabhu, disciple of... disciple of Srila Bhakti Pramoda Puri Goswami Maharaj. He's the best friend of Sripad Siddhanti Maharaj. And they're godbrothers and have done everything together since like 1995. They were serving, after Srila Bhakti Pramoda Puri Maharaj left this world, they went to serve Gurudev. And so they were, Madhava Priya Prabhu was in Delhi, and it was Srila Puri Maharaj's either appearance or disappearance day. But he was so busy serving Gurudev. And then Gurudev remembered. Right? Then Gurudev said, "Oh, it's your Guru Maharaj's appearance day, and we need to do worship. You need to worship him." And then Madhava Priya Prabhu said, "I have so much seva to do." And then Gurudev said, "Oh, okay, bring me a picture." So Madhava Priya Prabhu finds a picture, like in a book, of him. Yeah. And then Gurudev took it, and he put it on his, like on his chest, on his heart. And he said, "Okay, now worship." So he's showing that Guru is one. Okay. Recognizing the value of a fault finder. When the devotees of Sri Chaitanya Gaudiya Math would perform parikrama of South India under the guidance of Srila Puri Goswami Maharaj, Srila Maharaj would earnestly inquire about the history of every place we would visit, the deities, their pastimes, their glories, the method in which they were worshipped, the procedure for receiving their darshan, and many other details. He would note all these details in his diary, and when we would return to Calcutta, he would write an elaborate report for Sri Chaitanya Vani describing the parikrama. One day, I was sitting in his room reading a draft of one such report. Seeing that he had forgotten to mention a particular place we had visited, I mentioned it to him. "You are right," he responded. "I will include that also." He continued, "It is my principle to accord more apprehension... It is my principle to accord more appreciation to those who notify me of mistakes in my work than to those who may notice but remain quiet." Yes. Huh?
It is what?
More attention to those who point out mistakes. It is my principle to accord more appreciation to those who notify me of mistakes in my work than to those who may notice but remain quiet. Oh, humility is so amazing.
You see, everyone appreciates to hear
Ah.
your faults, rather than somebody sees it and does the same.
Yes, men are easier to come by, but it's rare to find a bandhav, a sincere well-wisher with honest intentions.
I'm your bandhav.
Aw, she's your bandhav, she said. I do not consider those who simply agree with and praise whatever I may say, or write to be my bandhavs. I much prefer the company of a proofreader, or for that matter, any individual who is unafraid to point out my mistakes, than someone who remains excessively idle. Almost immediately after this incident, Srila Puri Goswami Maharaj approached Guru Maharaj and said, if you wish to ensure that the publishing of Sri Chaitanya Vani remains proficient, please allow Bharti Maharaj to join its publication team. Though others may not appreciate his reluctance to readily agree with anyone and everyone, it is this reluctance that makes him qualified to serve on the publication team and help me to improve the quality of the magazine. Guru Maharaj replied, this very quality is the reason I consider Bharti Maharaj my right-hand man. If I were allowed him to work with you, I would not have anyone qualified to oversee other equally important services. I desperately need him for the new mat we are currently constructing.
Why did you want him?
Because he's his right-hand man.
No, why did he make him his right-hand man?
Because he's qualified in every area.
Because he tells him what's up.
I mean,
Because he corrects him. Right?
he's if I were to allow him to work with you, I would not have anyone qualified to oversee other equally important services. I desperately need him for my new mat because he was an engineer.
Mm-hmm.
Srila Bharti Maharaj was an engineer.
With the section called
Srila Puri Maharaj is asking Bhakti Maharaj if Srila Bharti Maharaj could be his editor because
he could find
he finds the faults. And Bhakti Maharaj is saying, but I need him to construct the mat because he's an engineer also. And that was his specialty. Please allow me to keep him with me for the time being. Srila Puri Goswami Maharaj, who was like a simple, gentle child at heart, easily accepted Guru Maharaj's request without any protest. Seeing himself as the cause of others' hostility. Once, when Srila Puri Goswami Maharaj went to have darshan of a godbrother, that godbrother, instead of meeting Srila Maharaj, sent 100 rupees as donation through his sevak and sent Srila Maharaj away. When Srila Maharaj returned to the mat, he fasted for the entire day. He did not accept even water. Without keeping a single paisa of his godbrother's donation for himself, he put the entire 100 rupees into Thakurji's donation box. When I asked him the reason why he was fasting, Srila Maharaj replied, I went for Vaishnav darshan, but I was unable to attain it because I am an offender. I am fasting in order to atone for my offenses. Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat states, chanting the Lord's name is the highest form of atonement. Therefore, I shall disengage myself from all activities today, other than chanting the holy names of Bhagavan. I said, it appears to me that it was not you who committed an offense, but rather the person who refused to meet with you. Srila Puri Goswami Maharaj replied by quoting a verse from a kirtan in Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur's Kalyana Kalpataru. He said, Vaishnav Charitra Sarvada Pavitra. The Vaishnav's character is ever pure. If a Vaishnav behaves maliciously with us, we should remain guided by the principle of the verse Tatenu Kampam Susamikshamano. We should remain dependent on Bhagavan's mercy and consider such hostility to be the result of our past karma. Wow. Everything's in this, my beloved masters. Yeah. Your phone? Yeah. Can you just message? Because I didn't tell him when he leaves to lock. I'll be there soon.
Tell him what?
When he leaves the gallery, just to
Lock it.
lock it. I'll be there soon. Yeah. Not till 12:30. He just has to go to FIU to pick him up. we're going to overlap, but we can be closed for half an hour. Maybe a couple more. His view on Vaishnava Aparad. During the time of Paran, when we break our fast for Ekadasi, one Dwadasi day, all the devotees were seated in a line waiting to honor prasad. Just as prasad was finished being served, one brahmachari removed a particular sannyasi's leaf plate, threw it away, and ordered the sannyasi to leave that place and never return. Witnessing such behavior, Srila Puri Goswami Maharaj became gravely upset and said, "I cannot remain here any longer. For many years I have stayed with Sri Bhakti Dayat Madhav Maharaj, whose standards for diligently serving Vaishnavas are renowned. Srila Madhav Maharaj demonstrated those standards through his conduct, and he served even those who opposed him. A few devotees tried their best to pacify Srila Puri Goswami Maharaj, but were unsuccessful. Srila Maharaj then quoted Srila Kaviraj Goswami, Chaitanya Charitamrita, Mahantera apaman jay deshe grame hoy, eka janera doshe saba desha ujadoy. He explained, the entire village must suffer if even one person living there insults a great personality. This can be seen in the life of Ramachandra Khan. His offense to Haridas Thakur later led him to offending Sri Nityananda Prabhu, and subsequently his entire village was destroyed as a result. And when Devananda Pandit remained a mute spectator while his students dragged Srivas Pandit out of his assembly, he too was implicated in that offense and became deprived of Mahaprabhu's mercy. While narrating the instance of Daksha Prajapati and Sati, Srimad Bhagavatam asserts that if one cannot punish a Vaishnava aparadi by either cutting out his tongue or publicly rendering him speechless through scriptural arguments, then one is required to leave that place. This incident inspired Srila Puri Goswami Maharaj to write a multitude of essays on the subject of Vaishnava aparad, including the grave consequences of committing such offenses.
One of the brahmacharis
Just threw his leaf plate and told him to leave.
for no reason.
Yeah.
Wait, I have a question. So, like, I guess why is everyone in the village responsible for the one individual's making a parade?
Well, I would think that because everyone, was it the village or the or did it say the?
Burn the whole village.
Right. Well, in that case with Ramachandra Khan, they offended. He burned down.
Because they let it happen.
Yeah. Can you answer that? I mean, I'm just thinking that it's like we all represent each other, and we all represent. She grew.
That is nobody opposed.
Mm.
Everybody just
Let it happen.
It's kind of connected to the fault finding we talked about earlier then, of like, you know, how if we just like stand idle and allow things
Yeah.
to occur.
Like, there's one institution where some of the leaders were greatly offensive to Srila Gurudev. So then there are other leaders who may not have voted in the same way, but didn't say, I'm leaving this spot, that's an offense, I can't stay here. Like Puri Maharaj said, I'm leaving. Then they're also implicated. Look like you really want to say something.
Well, I was gonna say something about how do we not fault find? You were saying but say for example, somebody's doing something, like at the other temple we had 2 sinks, separate sinks on each side, and I can't see even then, and I was putting it the wrong way, and the devotee kept going, Prabhu, I told you like 5 times, see what's wrong, and I couldn't see it, and so he keeps pushing on the correction for the love. I didn't be like, well, who are you to talk to me? And this and that, because he's trying to make you walk straighter as a brother. If it comes from the heart, the intention from the heart. If the intention is to bully, then that's a different situation. But if you're trying to serve, say, hey, Prabhu, I see you trying to come to the altar. Cover your mouth when you chant, you're spitting on the deities. I used to get told that in the Panchatattva worship. And so I would move back. And they say, what'd I tell you? I'm so enthusiastic. Yeah, but do it back there. You're spitting on everything. So that kind of is a mood.
It's a mood, yes.
Persistence in bhajan despite illness. Once while Srila Puri Goswami Maharaj was staying in a room with a temporary asbestos roof at Sri Gopinath Gaudiya Math's newly acquired property at Chakratirtha, Jagannath Puri, he fell sick due to the cold weather. He was brought to Sri Chaitanya Gaudiya Math at Grand Road so that he could be provided comfortable facilities while he recovered. Upon his arrival at the Math, I immediately called for a specialist from the hospital. After examining Srila Maharaj, the doctor advised us to admit him for a night in the hospital, where he would receive oxygen and a saline drip. My godbrother, Sri Gauranga Prasad Brahmachari, now Sri Bhakti Saurabh Acharya Maharaj, said, "Those who go to the hospital in Puri never return." Hearing this comment, a few of Srila Puri Goswami Maharaj's female disciples began crying, and many devotees became reluctant to admit Srila Maharaj to the hospital. Srila Puri Goswami Maharaj, however, had faith in my counsel. He told his sevaks, "You should follow whatever Bharti Maharaj feels is appropriate." I said, "Maharaj, it would be best for you to go to the hospital, for they are able to provide oxygen and saline drips there. Moreover, the doctor is recommending you be admitted for only 1 night." Srila Puri Goswami Maharaj agreed, and we admitted him to the hospital. He felt a bit hot at that time, and so I personally brought 2 of the Math's standing fans for him. I stayed with him through the night and brought him back to the Math when the doctor gave permission the following day. While in the hospital, he recited his daily stavas and stutis, verses of prayer and praise, just as he would in the Math. I was astonished that his condition had no effect on his conduct, his gentle temperament, his forbearance, or his spiritual practices. One more. Let's see. Srila Prabhupada's final instructions. Srila Puri Goswami Maharaj would frequently mention the following in his Harikatha. The entirety of Srila Prabhupada's instructions and the example he personally set deserve perpetual scrutinization and implementation. This is certainly true. However, in keeping with the popular adage, the latter directive trumps those preceding, I present to you now the instructions Srila Prabhupada imparted to a group of devotees just 8 or 9 days before he manifested his disappearance pastime. And he would always quote in his Harikatha, Saraswati Thakur's last instruction. He said, "In every place in this world there exists a scarcity of Harikatha, which bestows ultimate perfection, the perfection of devotion. Our sole duty and dharma is to dispel this scarcity by preaching the service of Srimad Bhagavatam and Sri Bhagavan. Every place where Harikatha is present is to be considered a holy place. We have not come to this world to be carpenters or masons. We are simply the carriers of the message of Sri Chaitanya Dev. Sri Rupa established the innermost desire of Sri Chaitanya Dev in this world. The dust of his lotus feet is the object of our life's sole ambition. In our attempts to follow these instructions, which Srila Prabhupada repeatedly uttered in the final days before his disappearance, we must remember the following words of Srila Narottam Das Thakur. Guru Mukha Padma Vaikya Chittite Korye Aikya Arana Koryo Mane Asha. Shri Guru Charani Rate E Se Uttamagati Jai Prasad Puri Sarva Asha. Make the words emanating from the lotus mouth of Shri Guru one with your heart and aspire for nothing more. Attachment to the lotus feet of Shri Guru is the ultimate attainment, for his mercy fulfills all desires. I convey my gratitude to all the devotees sincerely striving to follow Srila Prabhupada and preach the message of Bhagavat, wherever and in whatever form they may preach it. So, Srila Puri Goswami Maharaj left this world in 1999. And Srila Bhakti Maharaj and Srila Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj arranged it.
Arranged for the Samadhi ceremony.
Mm-hmm. Oh no, yeah. Actually, Srila Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj couldn't go, and he instructed here. It says Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj instructed Srila Bhakti Maharaj to go and assist with the ceremony.
That when he was 102?
Yeah, it looks like he was younger. But I think we've probably seen the picture where he's bent over. And there?
Not one more story.
One more story?
It's a story.
Let me look up the... Let's see if Gurudev has a story. Well, I told the story about the
Yeah. Lotus.
Loda. Let's see if Gurudev has another story. That was the main story. Oh, here. Okay. I'll just read from Srila Gurudev for a minute. I always saw him busy in writing. His pen never stopped. He used to spend every moment in writing articles about pure bhakti. Whenever a chance came after completing his fixed number of rounds of Harinam, serving the deity and studying the sastras. He also used to submit many articles to the journals of different Gaudiya mats. Oh, you heard all that. In the last years of his life, he stayed in Shridham Mayapur, where he established Shri Gopinath Gaudiya Mat at Ishodhyan. In the last stage of his life, he stayed at Banki Mohana Chakratirtha in Shri Purushottam Dham. Finally, he entered into Nitya Leela on November 22nd, 1999 at 2:07 a.m. Whenever I used to go to Shridham Vrindavan, Shridham Mayapur, or Calcutta, I had the good fortune to have the audience of his lotus feet. At that time, I used to present to him whatever new publications we had produced from our mat in the Hindi language, such as Jaiva Dharma, Chaitanya Shikshamrit, the teachings of Sriman Mahaprabhu, Srila Vishwanath Charita Thakur's Bindu, Kiran, and Kana, Upadeshamrita, Manashiksha, Raghavat Chandrika, and also some English publications. He was delighted to receive all these books from me, and in return, he inspired and instructed me to publish more books of the Gaudiya Vaishnava philosophy. Whenever we would meet, he would ask, what new publications are coming in Hindi? He was present to pacify us at the time our beloved Gurudev entered into Nitya Leela, and also when the Samadhi Mandir was established at Shri Devananda Gaudiya Mat. Oh, I heard he installed Radha Vinod Bihari and Rupsanatha Gaudiya Mat. During his visit, he told us with a melting heart, Vinod Da, Srila Bhakti Brigand Kesar Goswami Maharaj, was very affectionate to us. Whenever we knew that Vinod Da was not in Mayapur, we would also cancel our scheduled program to visit Mayapur. He said that there was no one as warmly affectionate as Vinod Da. Oh. Like older brother. In this way, and actually, isn't Srila Pramoda Param Gurdev's older brother, I think. Isn't it? Where's the thing? In this way, Srila Puri Goswami Maharaj was fully surrendered and one of the eternal associates of Srila Prabhupada. At the time of performing kirtan and giving lectures, he would close his eyes, which were brimming with tears, being incessantly immersed in the bhava of bhakti. He would express such deep realizations while discussing Bhakti Tattva and Ras Tattva that his whole audience would be enchanted. He was the embodiment of Sriman Mahaprabhu's verse, Chanadapi Sunichena, more humble than a blade of grass. He was a topmost self-realized devotee and always deeply appreciative of others' merit. Until this very day, I never saw him criticize anyone, and he even used to give inspiration and respect to this insignificant person who is thoroughly bereft of bhakti. I often saw him walking with his danda, traveling barefoot in Navadvip Dham and 84 Krosh Braj Mandal Parikrama. Even in his advanced age, I saw him doing parikrama without eating and drinking, and always singing kirtans and speaking Harikatha. I went to see him almost 1 month and 15 days prior to his divine disappearance. At that time, he was not speaking at all, and he kept his eyes closed. I caught hold of his lotus feet and said, "I am your most insignificant servant, Narayan Maharaj." Upon hearing this, he caught both of my hands in his and gave me his blessings. Then he ordered his servants to give me prasadam. I do not know if he spoke to anyone else again after that moment. He entered into Nitya Leela at the age of 101 years. He was expert in all Siddhanta and a pure devotee in the line of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada, and I felt so much inspiration from his blessings and instructions. Now, after his entrance into the divine transcendental pastimes of the Lord, I am bereft of the touch of that hand which used to confer upon me profuse blessings and inspiration, and thus I feel a profound sadness in his absence. In this way, I am offering Shri Pushpanjali at the lotus feet of such a Parama Nishkinchan, topmost renunciate, Mahabhagavat, most senior devotee, Shri Srimad Bhakti Pramoda Puri Goswami Maharaj. May he be pleased to shower his causeless mercy upon me.
But he already left. So how could he be pleased to shower his causeless mercy?
Because he never leaves. Bhakti Pramoda Puri Goswami Maharaj ki, Shri Divine Avirbhav Titi Srila Bhakti Pramoda Puri Goswami Maharaj ki jai. May he confer his profound causeless mercy upon all of us.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaura. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaur Premanande, Hari. Panchakopataribhyashta, Kripa Sindhubhye Vacha, Patijanam Pavanebhyo, Vaishnavebhyo Namo.